Okay, this is English 201, week 5, part 8. Okay, cool. So this is going quite well. Um, so again, I mean, I can go through this a little bit faster because some of these are repetitive. His mother was not used to the sight of Gregor. He might have made her ill, so Gregor hurried back to the far end of the couch. Again, Gregor constantly worried about other people more than himself, which sounds sort of sweet, but I don't think it is. um, um, it, here's a basic idea. There's a thing when you get injured, if you are sick, if you have a problem, then you're in crisis, and that this is you in the center, and then around you are like your closest friends and family, and then around them are their friends and family, and then around them are their friends and family. So the idea is you want to send good things in and bad things out, right? So like if you're sick and your boyfriend has to take care of you all the time, he shouldn't be complaining to you about having to take care of you. Now, he can complain to his friends and be like, man, I'm having a really hard time taking care of my girlfriend. It's very difficult because he can bitch and because I mean, taking care of people's hard and people should be allowed to bitch and moan about it and blow off some steam. You know, you can't expect to just be happy all the time while taking care of someone who's very, very ill. But you don't want to complain to the person who's ill. You want to complain to your friends. And then your friends can be like, man, this guy talks about his girlfriend too much. But they shouldn't say that to him. They should say that to their friends, right? You want to go you want to send bad things in this direction and good things. So you want to tell the person, oh, you're doing great. You're doing a good job. I'm really supporting you. And then he can be like, this is driving me crazy. I'm having a terrible time. Right? And Gregor is not doing that. Gregor is trying to, he's the one this terrible stuff is happening to. And he's like, I better go hide so as not to upset my mother. See, that's the wrong way. They should be making him feel better. And if they're having a hard time with it, they should take that elsewhere. Talk to each other about that. Um, okay, cool. And then we get this kind of ridiculous scene. He decides he wants to save something, but he doesn't know what to save. He changed direction 4 times without knowing what he should save first, before his attention was suddenly caught by the picture on the wall, which was already denuded, meaning empty, of everything else that had been on it, of the lady dressed in copious fur. He hurried onto the picture and pressed himself against the glass. It held firmly and felt good on his hot belly. So he's trying to protect this picture of this woman. I'm going to say something crazy that I hesitated to say, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it and we can basically forget about it. There's something weirdly sexual about the picture because of the fur. Fur is a sort of famous metaphor for pubic hair, especially because the woman's got a fur boa and a fur hat, and she has fur muffs on her hands, which are like cylinders that go around your hands. So they're like furry holes. I should try to get you a picture of like a sort of fur muff, but it's a kind of it kind of wraps around the hand. You put your hand into it, but it creates like a furry hole thing. And the fact that this is like a beautiful lady that it cut out of a magazine, it's so different from what someone would do now. But I want to consider that it's a little similar to putting up like a poster of like a dude putting up a poster of some girl he finds really hot on the wall. It's just that like in 1910, it's a woman dressed in fur from a magazine. The modern day equivalent would probably be getting some bikini clad babe on a poster on your wall, but in 1910, it's a woman wearing fur is the sexy thing because it suggests pubic hair. And putting it in a glass over in a glass frame that you made yourself out of wood. So I just want to point out there's something just like weirdly like I don't even know what I want to say. It's just there's something weirdly like sexual about this that like the only thing he wants to save. I guess if I don't tell you that that fur is a common metaphor for pubic hair, animal fur on women, in this particular way is a metaphor for pubic hair, then you're gonna kind of miss the ridiculousness of the situation, which is that like they're taking all his furniture away and everything that makes it human, and the only thing he wants to save is like I hate to put it like this, porn. You know what I mean? Like he's like I gotta save the hot babe that's on my walls. And again, it's horrifyingly sad because he doesn't have anyone to care about. He just has a kind of fantasy of someone to care about. But that is the only thing he really wants to save is this picture and the hot belly line. It just feels the whole thing feels weirdly. There's something weird about it because it's mentioned 3 times. It's mentioned earlier in the story that he had this picture in his room, and then his mother brags to the chief clerk that he made this himself, the frame, and it's the only thing he does with his free time, and now it's the only thing he wants to save. And that's all the mention of it that it gets. I just feel like without those details, um, without those details, it's hard to kind of see the craziness of that scene or why he wants to save it. It's even more ridiculous that, of course, he's now a cockroach. So, like, it was already a far-fetched fantasy that Gregor, when he was a human being, was ever gonna like get this fancy woman from a magazine, right? You're not going to marry the hot dude from the perfume ad. So like that's already crazy. The fact that he's a cockroach makes it even crazier because she's definitely not going to want him now. So it's I don't know. I guess I think that's it. I think that's it. I just want to say that. There's another kind of Beauty and the Beast moment coming in the story, and I think it's important to have this to kind of set it up there. Um, yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, and then the mother sees Gregor. Before she even realized it was Gregor that she saw, she screamed, "Oh God, oh God." "Gregor!" shouted his sister, glowering at him and shaking her fist. This was the first word she had spoken to him since his transformation. Ugh. It's one of the fucked up details in the story that when he speaks, they cannot understand him. And again, that feels like a metaphor for how they never really listened to him when he was alive. Because presumably they must know that he hates his job. And if they had been listening or paying attention to him enough to know how much he hates his job, then the kind thing to do would have been to take their savings, use the savings to pay off the debt so that he would have to work at the job less. But they don't listen to him. Um, but one of the fucked up things about it is because they can't understand him, they assume he can't understand them. That's incredibly sad because they could speak to him and he would understand everything they were saying, but they never even try. And this is months. He's been transformed like this for months, and they have never spoken a word to him. I mean, the sister comes in and she cleans and she leaves him food. None of them. So no, he has not had anyone speak to him for 2 fucking months. Oh God, this fucking story. Again, really depressing, but really well written. Like it makes me happy because it's incredibly well written. Um, the father comes home, and you can see that the father's already spoiling for a fight. He wants to fight Gregor, just as I had expected, said his father. His father took it to mean that something had happened, that he was responsible for some act of violence. Again, there's no communication. The father just assumes this guy is a monster. He must have attacked the family. And I love this line. "Ah," he shouted as he came in, sounding if he were both angry and glad at the same time. That's a great sentence. Again, the irony, because anger and happiness should be two separate things. That's ironic. But it's also, how do I put this? It's ironic, but I get it, especially from his father, because people who are glad and angry at the same time are people who enjoy violence. They want to be violent. They want to say and do something violent. I'm sorry, can you just, you probably can't see this, but just, can you look at how fucking crazy this apartment is across the street? My parents said that some kind of famous basketball player lives there and that he's actually like installed a whole basketball court behind those windows, I think, but I haven't quite figured it out. I can't get over the size of the TV this guy has. Anyway, you can't see it. Um, I thought I was going to zoom in, but I'm afraid I'll fuck something up and it'll end the call or end the video. His father is glad and angry at the same time because I think there's a suggestion here that he enjoys violence. And so when he's mad, he gets to be violent, but he likes being violent. This is and again, and you haven't seen these movies probably, but I'm really interested in these kinds of overbearing father figures. My father, by the way, is nothing like that. But I like to, these movies like if you've seen The Shining or Night of the Hunter. No, actually, nobody's seen Night of the Hunter. Nobody's seen Lost Highway. Don't worry about it. What the fuck am I talking about? Actually, you know what? No. I was going to say some of you have taken my film class, but no, you haven't because you're in 201. Okay, never mind. Just forget it. I'm moving on. Um, and again, I mentioned that the story is called The Metamorphosis, but his father has also changed. Gregor changes immediately. First sentence. And then he doesn't really change after that. He just kind of falls apart and dies. But Gregor's father has changed, just like the sister has. He says, "Was that really his father?" Yeah, all right, I'll pick this up in the next video. Cool.